That's a good ball for Peter Weir. Now Aberdeen with McGee making the break and Hewitt waiting in the middle. Hewitt!
This Neil Simpson special is brought to you and supported, as always, by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And I'm delighted to say that my other sponsor, Craig International, has some great news. So thanks to everybody at Craig International, particularly Steve Gibson, for making that one work and getting it across the line. And the young girls are absolutely delighted that you've come on board to sponsor their shirts. So how are you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Wednesday night. So this is new content. This is a new feature that we're going to be doing regularly on the channel from now on. Basically, the idea behind this is I'm sure that you've seen a number of my previous quickfire question and answer features with ex-Aberdeen players. So what I thought I would do going forward is basically put a live show in and around the feature so that you can respond to some of the questions that get asked, to the answers, and obviously you can recall your own memories. So tonight we're paying homage to our very own Gothenburg legend, Neil Simpson. So shall we crack on and very gently remind you, first of all, just how much of a legend this guy is. Played for Aberdeen between 1978 and 1990. He scored 31 goals from 310 appearances and won 8 major honours, including 3 Scottish Cups, 1 League Cup, 2 League Championships, 1 Cup Winners' Cup and 1 Super Cup. Welcome to the show, Neil Simpson. Hi Neil, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on. I hope you've prepared yourself for your quickfire question and answer session.
I'll do my best, Ali.
Good
See
man.
how I go.
Good man. Right, we'll fire in with the first question then. What was the worst job about being on the ground staff?
Definitely doing the boots. I mean, when you come back from Seaton on a wet day, the amount of mud, but even worse was if we trained in the car park, and it was soaking wet, all the blaze, the red blaze all over the boots, and you had to get rid of them and then make them all nice for the next day because Teddy would be checking on you to make sure they were all clean.
Whose boots did you clean actually?
Joe Harper's, definitely. I can't remember after that, to be honest, but I remember I did Joe's.
What was your favourite piece of memorabilia in Teddy Scott's room?
I actually just come across this a couple of years ago, and it's the folders that he's got. So he used to record every first team and reserve game. So the first team had the team sheet, so you had that, but then he used to write down like the reserve teams. So even when you played Mod or Fraserburgh United alongside, he used to do the team, the subs, who come on, who come off, who scored and who had the assists.
Wow.
So it was just an amazing. So I remember we'd played Rangers in a reserve game at Pittodrie. It was like we played them at 2 o'clock and then we played them at 7:30. And in my head, I'm sure I played the first game, but I think I was subbed the second.
Yeah.
So then I went back and checked it, and I played the 90 minutes at 2 o'clock and the 90 minutes at 7:30.
No way.
But that's not all. I then went back to the next page and I thought, oh, we actually played Rangers at Ibrox on the Monday and the Tuesday. It was a Reserve League Cup and there was a second 11 Cup. So it was 2 legs.
Okay.
And I'm going, so I played Monday, Tuesday and 2 games on Wednesday. And then I looked back on the Saturday, we played Morton and I'd played the 90 minutes there.
No
So
way.
5 games in 5 days. I mean, the sports science would have had they would have had the fit doing that now.
So those folders are still in that room?
Yeah, it's still there every game. And there was another one where I remember there was a reserve game put off in the Friday tea time. So Teddy had phoned round a few people to to find, local contacts. He knew everybody. So Mod Juniors had come back and said, "We'll play you." Teddy says, "Brilliant. We'll make it a 10 o'clock kickoff so the boys can get away and maybe go down to Glasgow, some of the Glasgow boys." So 20 minutes later, Fraserborough's game got called off and phoned Teddy. "Oh, you do fancy a game, Teddy?" "No problem at all." So, so 3 o'clock, we played 10 o'clock against Maud and then 3 o'clock against Fraserburgh in the twin tub minibus and away up when we played Fraserburgh. Two
Really?
games in a day.
And you played both
I
90
mean, that's
minutes?
just mental.
Oh,
Huh?
dear. Oh, I love it. I love it. What is your all-time favorite Aberdeen strip?
Oh, it's got to be the Gothenburg one. I love that. The just iconic,
Mhm.
brilliant.
How often in one football season did you change your boots?
Eh, well, you got a pair of, it was called leathers and rubbers then. So the leathers were the studs, where you put in the big metal studs if it was heavy pitch. And then your rubbers with your Copa Mundials. Um, Now, normally, as the season went on, there might have been a wee hole sort of come. You went to Teddy. "Teddy, I think my boot." "Nah, they'll do you another few weeks." So you're actually, you probably a season that lasted you just because Teddy made sure that you didn't waste, you know, I would cost the club another pair of boots
Yeah, yeah.
if you did that.
Did you
Patch them
have
up, you'll be all right.
uh, did you have any pre-match rituals?
Um, I always had a huge big glass of water for my pre-match, and then always wore a long sleeve. And before the referee blew the whistle to start the game, I rolled up my sleeves so you're ready to go into battle.
Right.
Every game I did that.
Yes. That I've got a memory of this now come flooding back. Right. Okay. So you used to literally roll your sleeves up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Okay. Right. And I think that, and funnily enough, the reason I think of that is because I saw a goal of yours the other day, and after you put the ball into the back of the net, the first thing you do is you roll your sleeves back up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Who did you room with in Gothenburg?
Gym Layton, and it
Okay.
was the worst beds ever.
Was
They were
it?
like wooden. They were wooden and they were only about 5'11" length. So you had the actual Jim was obviously about 6'1". I'm only 5'10". He had to curl round to make sure he could get into the bed because it was so small.
Really?
Oh dear. No, I mean the Far's Hat, I've got great memories, but the beds were dodgy.
Who went to bed first after you guys got back from the Ullevi Stadium?
That's just a blur. I couldn't tell you.
Right, which goal did you prefer? We've got three choices. The equaliser against Bayern Munich, the mazy run against Waterschei, or the goal against Hamburg in the Super Cup.
Yeah, all good memories, but my favourite is the Watershy,
Is
Maisie.
it?
Because when you watch it back, as I get, inch closer to the goal, you can see folks that are getting a wee bit higher, coming off their seats a little bit.
Yeah,
And then I like that there's a photograph of Eric Black
yeah.
coming sitting on top of me to celebrate, and you can see the South Stand, everybody, just jumping for joy. It was brilliant. Yeah, that's my favourite.
Okay. Did you have a sponsored club car? And if you did, which was your favourite one?
I never had a sponsored car,
Really?
but there was a potential of getting a car from Cupid's. Remember the
Yeah.
wine Cupids?
Uh-huh.
Because my second cousin was Ricky Simpson, so there was, we were sort of speaking about it. And then Fergie took me into the room and says, "There's no way you're going about with a pink car, so you won't be having a sponsored car."
What car was it?
Oh, it was, well, Cupid's was pink. So everybody was winding me up, "Oh, it'll be pink and everything." So Fergie said, "No chance."
Okay, what was the funniest prank that you ever saw?
Eh, oh, I've seen a few. But the one that sticks in my mind is actually it was a prank on me. It was my first ever pre-season. We went up to Gormston and the Alexander's bus, the first team, the reserves, the staff. Um, And I mean, it was a brilliant place, so much grass area. We were in dormitories, but my granny had stayed in Duffus, which was right next door. She says, "Oh, it's half a call up there. You better bring your pajamas." So I had the stripy pajamas. So the first night, I think there was Andy Watson, Doug Rugby. I can't remember who the other one was in the dormitory. Um, anyway, I had my pajamas on, ready to go to bed, and there was everybody's coming in. Oh, nice pajamas, nice jammies. So obviously, next morning, made the bed, tucked them under my pillow, and then off to training. So the Tuesday night, we were up there Monday to Friday. Tuesday, I'm looking under my pillow, no jammies. So come on, who's got my jammies? Where's my jammies? Every day, even in training. Come on, do you know where my jammies are? Where's my jammies? So Friday, we'd finish training at lunchtime, and I'd said to Stuart Kennedy, "You must know, Faz got my jammies," and he pointed up at the flagpole, in the main building.
No.
The guys had been up floating about in the Gornston the whole week.
You not noticed them?
I never noticed, no. I was only 16. I was a bit naive in Newmarket.
Oh, that's brilliant. So they were literally tied to the flagpole.
Aye, they were blowing in the flagpole the whole week.
Oh, that's magic. Favorite Aberdeen night spot back in the day?
Eh, I mean, I didn't go out a lot, but when I was out, I was a fusion man, or I like villas because part of your entrance fee, you got a basket supper.
That's
But I was
brilliant.
more a Beaky's Nuke and Yamaha Hotel man, to be honest, than
Yeah.
going out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dancing or propping up the bar?
If you'd see me dancing, I never went up and danced. I was hopeless. Big country loon, hopeless at dancing.
That's not what Mrs. Simpson tells me.
Oh, no, that's only if I've had a few drinks.
Okay, penultimate question. If you could turn back the clock and change any result from your time with Aberdeen, what result would you like to change?
100%
Okay,
Porto game at Aberdeen.
yeah,
Um, we did well to just come away by 1-0 in Porto, but then you think taking them back to Pataudry, under the lights, we normally, were outstanding at Pataudry. And you saw the other semi-final, Juventus and Man United, you think, oh, this could be tasty. But we just never hit the heights that night. We just never, I mean, they were an outstanding team. I mean, they won the European Cup 2 years after that.
yeah,
So there was quality right through their team, and they were just emerging. Um, really good players. Pacheco, I remember him, and Fernandez in midfield, two really small guys, but quality. Gomez. Um, they had a big centre back who was really outstanding as well. We just never hit the heights. That was one I really, we were just so gutted. It would just never. It was a foggy night.
yeah,
There just wasn't the same atmosphere as normal European games.
yeah, it was gutting, gutting.
Yeah,
Right, fella, last question. I hope you're ready for this. Oh, here we
it's the
go.
big one.
Oh, the big one. Bad Boys Inc. or Take That?
Never heard. I take that. Really?
You will do for me. Neil, we're going to leave it on that very high note. Thank you so much, mate. Lovely to see
You're
you.
welcome.
Take care.
All the best.
Bye,
See you.
fella. Bye. There you go, Neil Simpson. If you're enjoying the show so far, don't forget to like, don't forget to come on. We'll be getting your comments on very, very shortly. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd be absolutely delighted if you would please consider pushing the old subscribe button. I really hope you enjoyed that. I had so much fun with him and chatted on with him for absolutely ages yesterday. And he's in such good form. So it's about time we got you guys on, isn't it? And so that you can reminisce and tell us what you're thinking after watching that show. I haven't heard it take that. Oh boy. Excuse me. Right, let's get you on. So, Gavin Wilson first came on and said, who can forget Simi's smashing goal against Bayern Munich? The goals were a bit of a mud bath. Laugh out loud, he says. What a goal that was. Oh, boy. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, legend and a local loon who lived the dream and a great servant to Aberdeen Football Club. West Coast Dawn quite simply says, come on, you Reds. The Lark 70 says, here we go, here we go, here we go. Graham Barron is on. How are we doing, Graham? He says, evening Ali and fellow dandies. Simi was before my time, but my dad tells me all the amazing stories about him. One of my favourite players and underrated was Lee Richardson. We'll try and get Lee on quite soon. Graham came back to say, especially that goal against Torino. Kevin Spence said, Simi, local loon, born and bred, who lived the dream in the glory days of the 80s. Gavin Wilson came back to say, good evening, everybody. John Grant is also on saying, good evening. Neil Simpson says, can you believe it? I cannot believe my hero and the guy I've been named after, the one and only Neil Simpson. Stand free, hero, be safe. Kaiser's on, wishing everybody a good evening. Kaiser, we're live. Barry Cool is here, wishing everyone a good evening as well, as is Kenneth McPherson. He says, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. Stuart Cleary says, pure legend, Simi. Kilted Warrior says, good evening all and welcome Simi the legend. Kaiser came back to say, some man Teddy Scott, Ellen Loon, took the bus into Pittodrie every morning. He was unbelievable. I remember, just a quick story about Teddy Scott. So I lived in Newborough. I grew up in Newborough, obviously just round the corner from Ellen. And my second ever training session at Pittodrie on a Thursday night. So I got very lucky to get picked from the crop of the boys in the region to train at Pittodrie on a Tuesday and Thursday night. And at that time, it was under the watchful eye of Drew Jarvie, Teddy Scott, Alex Smith, Jockey Scott, who used to scare me to death, George Adams, and Lenny Taylor was there for a wee bit. And I remember we finished quite late, and my dad usually used to come and pick me up from the airport. My dad used to work out at the airport, and he would come through to Pittodrie to pick me up, and then we would go home. But for some reason, he got a message to Pittodrie to say that he couldn't make it, and could I catch the bus home? Teddy was the one that got the message, and Teddy gave me a lift home to Newborough after the training session to make sure that I got home safely. What a man he was. West Coast Dawn says, what a player, what a Dawn. Neil Simpson came back to say, yes, have to agree, legend, Gothenburg strip is the best strip. Samantha Reid is here saying, good evening, dandies, just sneaking in for the first 10 minutes on my way to my birthday meal. Oh, very many happy returns. I hope you've had a great day. Richard Mickey McMillan is here. The Lark 70 came back to say, was it not well known that Simi could easily polish off a couple of fish suppers in a row? I'm sure he could. So many of you already on wishing Samantha a very happy birthday, which is so nice of you guys. Talking about the Porto game. So there's a lot of stuff being said about the Porto game. So let's go through it first of all. So the controversial stuff. Now, we've done some reading on this, and there was an investigation into the referee, but it actually had nothing to do with the Aberdeen-Porto game at Pittodrie. There were investigations into other games that he officiated. Absolutely nothing to do with the game at Pittodrie. Gavin Wilson said the Porto game was a gut wrench. The Lark 70 says was foggy as hell. I mind walking over the golf course. Brian P says, did Porto win 1-0 at Pittodrie? I was at the game. They did. They won 2-0 overall. No, it was Kaiser. It was 1-0 at Pittodrie. They scored quite late. So, talking about the Porto game, I was telling Neil this story. So, first and foremost, it's the only time that I've ever caught the ball at a game. So, we were sat unusually further down towards the pitch in the south stand, about maybe 5 or 6 rows up. And it was the second half because we were attacking the goal towards the beach end. And I remember the ball just came out and it just pinged up, and down, and it just literally ended up in my arms. And I remember throwing it to Stuart McKimmie. So that was one abiding memory. The second abiding memory of that game was my father, on the way home, my late dad, was unusually quiet in the car on the way home. Very quiet, which was not like him at all. And my mother couldn't go to the game. And I remember getting home and my mother greeted him at the door in floods of tears. And I couldn't understand why. And Dad kept saying how devastated he was at the result. And it baffled me for years and years and years. And then it turned out it must have been a good 10 or 15 years later. It was probably 15 years later. My dad and I were out driving in the Highlands of Scotland. We'd gone for a trip into the Highlands of Scotland. And for some reason we got speaking about this game. And he told me, and I swear to you on their grave that this is a true story. So after the first leg where Aberdeen narrowly lost 1-0, my father organised a train for fans to go from Aberdeen station to Felixstowe, then jump on the boat over to Calais or somewhere like that, and then catch another train all the way to Basel in Switzerland where the final was being held. Because the previous year, my dad organised all the charter flights for the fans to fly to Gothenburg. So he did the same again, but this time with a train. He sold the train out. He took enough deposits to make a projected profit of 60,000 quid. And when he was telling me the story, I swear to God, my jaw hit the deck. And I was so gobsmacked. And I was like, why haven't you told me this before? And he says, because when you were younger, he says, you didn't understand the value of money. He says, now that you're an adult and you've been through all the nonsense that you've just been through with the band, now you have a proper understanding of the value of money. I thought, I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. Neil Strachan says, that was fantastic, Ali. Delighted you enjoyed it, Neil. West Coast Dawn said, Bad Boys Inc. or Take That. Nope. Megadeth or Metallica. Whoa. From the sublime to the ridiculous. Kaiser says, tremendous stuff, Simi. He's definitely one of our own. Richard Mickey McMillan came back to say, cheers, Neil. Neil709 is on wishing everyone a good evening, as is David Gold, Rally Vids. The Mad Ferret says, Simi, truly one of our own. Barry Cole says, I loved the Gothenburg strip. Glad when the club did the 40th anniversary strip, I bought a home and away one. Neil Simpson came back to say, Ali, just a quick message. I put £10 on Aberdeen 4-1 and first scorer, and I got a return of 2,750. I will buy everyone a fish supper. I take it you're talking about the Dundee game, right? Kaiser says, it was a foggy night. Supposedly, you could hardly see the other end. Well, Kaiser, let me tell you, I can confirm that because we never saw the ball hit the back of the net when Porto scored. We just heard the cheer go up from the main stand where there was a pocket of supporters. And I just remember the chit-chat in and around us. It was really, really quiet because nobody could see. And then all of a sudden, it was like that dawn of realization. It's like, oh my God, they've scored. It was so surreal. David Gall came back to say, Teddy Scott, first met him when I was about 12 on a school trip of Pataudry. He loved showing everyone around his Aladdin's cave of memorabilia. The man ate, slept and breathed football. Michael Inkster is here. Hi, Michael. He says, remember that Porto game? Thought we were going to win another European Cup, but the fog seemed to dampen everything. Leanne Camerons came on. Leanne, delighted that you did. So I've checked out my Facebook page over the past 24 hours. You would have noticed that I put out a post about Aberdeen themed Santa Claus cakes for Christmas. And that's Leanne. Leanne's, she makes them. And she just said, just wanted to say a big thank you for sharing my wee AFC gonks on your page yesterday. Absolute pleasure. Gavin Wilson came back to say, I remember the issue we had when we played Torino. Think it was 3-1, but I'm sure Torino paid the ref's hotel, etc. No idea. Allegedly. Kenneth McPherson says, that was a bizarre night at a foggy, mist-filled Pittodrie. And again, a lot of you are talking about, you know, the actual final after Porto. Juventus beating Porto in the final 2-1, the 1984 Cup Winners' Cup, because Juventus knocked out Manchester United. Just absolutely unbelievable. Derek Griffiths came on to say, good evening, Ali and Dandies. What a player Neil Simpson was. There we go. Right, guys, so we'll call it a night there. So thank you so much for coming on. I really hope you enjoyed the feature. And the plan is to do more of these sort of going forward. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoy the concept as well, so that you can sort of recall your own fond memories of our Aberdeen legends. So thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye on my socials. We've got more shows coming up before the St Mirren preview show a week on Friday. So take good care of yourselves. See you very soon. Stand free.